Never go live this early, and the streams are more of an evening thing, but we need to get this done. And also, I can't stream tonight because tonight I have a thing I need to do, unfortunately. So it's 90% dry. I'd say 95% dry. There's a couple spots where it's a little thick, and then the holes are still a little wet. But other than that, we should be good to go, hopefully. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down the gray. There's a small area where you can see it's not exactly filling those cracks 100% because there's like worn off paint and I think acidic cat piss there, but I don't care because that's where the freezer was, and that's where the freezer's going back to. So we're not going to see anything behind that. The big thing is just getting this done so that tomorrow they can come in and put the washers down. The earlier we get this done, the better, because the more time it has to dry. So I'm going to stop wasting time and just get to it. Let me make sure the chat widget still is on. Okay, cool. It looks like the chat widget is here. Hopefully the chat widget is working. I should bring up the stream just to make sure. Okay, I have OBS. OBS confirms that the stream is up, and also I have a backup of chat there, so if I miss anything, because it only pops up on the screen temporarily, I can catch up during breaks. We're going to need to take little breaks just to let stuff dry. I don't really want to keep switching back and forth today. I don't know, maybe we do. Well, we're definitely streaming earlier today. We need to get this done. Alright, so first things first, we replace the white tray. With the gray tray, I don't have another cork container, unfortunately. I wish I did. Otherwise, we would use that to do trim. But we're just gonna take the gray with us and use this as our trim paint. Because the gray is also a giant gallon, a giant 5-gallon. There he is. Probably shouldn't put it on the surface we're painting. This one just keeps snapping back down. Sometimes they do that. Alright, there we go. Staying up this time. Got it. Alright. As you can see, when you have the paint, when you have like a colored paint, the pigments kind of separate a little bit. So this one's gonna need a fair bit of mixing, but it's also, because it's got those pigments, gonna be easier to know when it's done. Ow, my back. Than the white paint, the primer. Got the gray mixer right here. Not that it really matters because it's all dried on here, but just to prevent any mistakes or cross contamination or anything like that, assuming I have a mixer that has that color paint on it, we'll just keep using that same mixer for that color paint. We can do this a little more aggressively than we did the white because it's so low in the bucket that we can go fast enough to create our own little whirlpool, which should mix it much faster than the white. Also, since there's less of it, it's easier to push it quickly, and we need to do less mixing. I think that might be done already. Let's give it another good whip though. Especially since this is the finished paint, we want to make sure it comes out looking really even. Alright, I don't think it's getting any better. Let's make sure we do that near the lip we're going to be pouring to. Alright. So let's give you guys a look at that. All nice and evenly mixed up there. There's like I think that's a bubble. But it could also be like something solid. No, it's a bubble. That might be something solid. No idea how that got in there. No, it's just a bubble. Just a very tough bubble. I forgot to wet the towel. Give me a second. Okay, I've decided that we are going to switch back and forth today because I was thinking about it and I still need to eat, right? We will eat earlier than normal today. Yesterday we ate super late. Today we're going to eat super early. My body equilibrium is going to be entirely out of whack. But sometimes a man's got to do what a man's got to do. So we don't need too much in here for the first load. We want enough to make sure we cover everything though. I didn't go up fast enough. Oh, That's kind of like that was like gelled paint, kind of. It's supposed to be runny, not stringy like that. I wonder what that was. Oh, it looks like there's a little bit around the inside at the top from where the lid would have been connecting, and that got poured over into the edge. Doesn't look like any of it's in the tray though. Alright, let's go get the brush out of that water. Oh, my back. Alright, here we go, got the brush. So we're just going to do the same thing we did last time. Start in that far corner, then work our way around this way, then go under the steps and work our way that way. And then we do the parts in the middle, and then we wait. When we wait, we're going to eat. And then honestly, I think we maybe just run dungeons early today, because I don't know what else to do while I'm waiting. I could just work on back end stuff, but I don't want to stop the stream for that long. Once I'm started with the stream, I think we just keep going. And we're started with the stream now. This is annoying as fuck because of the tape peeling off back here. I don't get why it refuses to stick, because it's still so sticky. Well, it doesn't refuse to stick. It did stick to the part we painted a little bit, of course. The one thing we don't want it to stick to. Okay, there we go. It's kind of on the wall a little bit. Let's see how long it lasts. Don't waste this opportunity. This is slow going back here. Especially because it's the first coat. Making sure we're getting absolute full coverage. Alright, that part's done. Now I gotta do the other side, but we'll probably back along the wall as we do that. Did I step in some of the gray paint? Because there's little gray splotches. It looks like I probably stepped in the gray paint somewhere. Which makes me wonder, or is it dripping from the tray? No, I see the spot. There's a spot there. Interesting. At first I thought it was dirt that I was getting on the white, but I'm glad it's not. If it's gray paint, that's fine. We're just painting with our shoes too. We're super efficient. We're painting with the brush and our shoes. This part's the frustrating part because one side's already painted, but we kind of need to get in there deep to get the other part. Alright, I think we can maybe reach the rest of that from out here. Alright. Spread that out. Alright, I think, let's get this corner at least. Oh man. We have a nice long string. Let's get rid of that so it doesn't show up in the final coat. At this point we got to pay more attention to drips and stuff, even though it's a rough concrete floor. Because if we get too big of a blob of paint, it's definitely going to show up in the finished coat. Maybe I should have put more paint in here. Guess we'll find out. This corner takes a lot because we gotta fill in this rough spot that I showed you as best as we can. Even though it's gonna be under the freezer, we still don't want it to look like crap, you know? Alright, that corner is pretty well taken care of. Let's be moving right along. Got a few drips there. Oh, my neck and back are killing me. My knee hasn't started complaining yet, but I'm sure that will happen by the time we're doing the second coat of trim. Oh, my knee just cracked. Not the one that was giving me problems yesterday, the opposite one. But it was like a crack that felt good. Although not the kind Dave Chappelle's into. Can you imagine if like your knee was just doing crack on its own? You just wake up and there's like a random mouth open on your knee with a crack pipe hanging out of it. That's like something out of Jujutsu Kaisen, except for demon fingers instead of crack pipes. Someone should make that skit. Oh, my back. I'm thinking of like some of those random TikTok cleaning and DIY videos that are actually terrible ideas. Like they do something insane just for views and promote it as like a DIY life-saving hack, time-saving hack, and actually waste a whole bunch of someone's time and money by fucking their shit up. Be careful what you see on social media, people. Like, part of me wanted to just pour the bucket of paint out on the floor and then kind of spread it around itself. But that would just end up being very problematic for so many reasons. One, it would be way too thick in a lot of places and take forever to dry and cure. Two, it would be a tremendous waste of paint. It would be really hard to accurately estimate exactly how much I needed. And even though I did estimate exactly how much I needed, it wouldn't spread itself properly. So then I would need to spend more paint than I actually needed just to cover for the areas. But also, how do you cover the areas that aren't spread when the entire floor is just a fucking paint swamp, you know? Even with my pole, it can't reach all the way to the center from the edge. Definitely can't reach the opposite side. Maybe you can reach the center, but that's about it. Oh! I'd much rather trim 1,000 ceilings going up and down the ladder than do one floor. I hate bending over like this. Oh. We're moving right along now. Almost done with this wall. I'm 97% sure we're gonna have enough. We actually have a little too much, but I'd rather have a little too much than not enough, because then we don't need to pour the paint twice, you know? We can just pour it back in the bin when we're done. Okay, now this tape's coming off the wall. And we got the problem we were having over on the other side, but that's fine. Alright guys, that doesn't need to be perfect, it's just the basement floor. Ah, fuck. I put my finger in a hole. I mean, not your mom's, but it wasn't fully dry yet, and I pulled some of the stuff up. It was a pretty wet hole. We got some drips to take care of, spread those out. Nope. I'm doing my best not to put my hand down on the floor again. I don't want to stick my fingers in the wrong hole like that. Alright. Clean up a little bit of mess there. We got another area that's kind of beat up in the corner here. So just layering that paint on a little bit. Alright. So let's go down under the cat piss stairs. Clean up that little drip there. Is that a piece of dirt? Yeah. Well, it actually looks like a piece of black paint that came off. We got another drip. I don't know where that drip came from. I just watched it fall. Oh, I just tilted the tray and covered my thumb in paint. That's what we got these jeans on for. Nope, there's a little bit going up off the side. Alright. Okay, here comes the fun part of diving in. It smells so much better down here already. Like massive cat piss smell reduction just from getting that first layer on. It's not going to be totally gone until we seal the plywood area with that special scent blocking primer, but it's so much better already. I can actually kind of breathe and talk under here. Oh, my back's killing me though still. Okay, now that I'm down in it, I can still smell the cat piss, but it's barely there. It smells like cat piss mixed with paint now, which is a very interesting smell, to say the least. I wonder if there's a cat piss based paint. There's water based, oil based. What about cat piss based? Since cats mark with scent, would they paint their homes if they had like homes like human homes? Like say, do Khajiit from Elder Scrolls universe, do they paint their homes with cat piss based paint? Okay, now I just had a spot stick to my hand. We're kind of messing this up a tiny bit. We're not waiting for it to be as dry as we should, which is the problem, but we're also on a bit of a time crunch here. So sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. I think we can cover it with a little bit of gray and it'll be fine though. because it's kind of almost the same color that the paint's going to be when it dries. It was part of the bare concrete where the paint didn't necessarily stick as well. There's a hole that didn't get filled in there. Let's fill that in right now. Another little hole that didn't get filled in. These holes are going to be so hard to see once. Dude, there's a bunch of little holes there. Or no, those are gray drips, I think. Alright. Moving right along. I'm into the cat piss corner. Oh yeah, I can smell it in there. I'm holding my breath when I go in there. Watch me pass out and land face first in the paint tray. Okay. Well, we got a little drip there to deal with. A few drips there. Alright. We just come around, do this edge right here, and we're all done. At least with this round of trim. Spread that out a little bit, because I put it on kind of thick. Alright, so let me pick you guys up real quick. If you look right there, that's the crack that we fingered into existence. So I need to figure out what to do about that. It's probably best to stick our finger back in there and peel it up. But the problem is if we do too much of that, then we just mess up a bunch of stuff. We just want to get a nice edge. I think one of the big issues is that it's like crumbly under there. Alright. We've exposed a little hole, and we're just going to give this an extra layer of the gray. Especially because it kind of ends up being the same color. It's like, I think part of the reason why this area is like that is because this is one of the spots that stays kind of wet due to the combination of the water coming down from the shower and that leaky pipe right there. All right. So let's go ahead, pour the tray. Well, let me put the brush in the water bin first. That's all good. Let's pour the rest of this tray back into the bucket for now. Or at least most of it. We're not gonna sit here for an hour and let it all slowly run down, but as long as it's still flowing freely, and I don't have I might be able to reach yeah, I think I can reach the rag from here. Okay, good. We'll need to wipe off the edge unless we want to get it underneath. Getting it underneath the tray can cause problems, especially once you switch trays. Alright, it's just dripping at this point. Yep, that edge is pretty clean. Alright, let me close this lid. Not the whole way, just enough to seal it up for now. Keep it from getting dry, any dust or anything from getting in there. All right. Whew. So, damn it. I forgot to trim around the center part, but you know what? I'm not too worried about that. Trimming around the drain and the pole. We can do that later. We'll make sure we get that extra good when we do the second coat. And we'll do another trim of that area before we roll it. Not super optimal, but we have pretty good coverage with the primer. We have great coverage with the primer. So I'm sure it shouldn't cause any problems. If it does, neither of those are going to be under the washer, so I can always give them a little touch up later. You see, we've got, there's the, oh, that's kind of what I was worried about. You see, we got a little hole there. Now, the problem with that spot is because the concrete is kind of wet and disintegrating under it, it's going to keep doing that. So we just need to get enough layers that it keeps filling in that hole until it seals it. And then eventually that's probably going to be the first spot to wear off. But as I said before, we have the wrong paint, which is making this not as permanent. So eventually, when I have a bit more money, we'll get the right paint and kind of touch this up with a better paint that'll seal this all in. But the most important thing is just to get this painted right now so that it feels fresh and clean. Clean is the big thing, because once this is all painted, it's going to be so easier to keep this basement clean. Right now, there's just all this concrete dust and stuff that I don't want to deal with. All right, so we're going to need to eat. I need to restart the PC. I always restart the PC. Yo, what's up, Snow Ninja? Pro Painter, it's looking great, thank you. Hello, how you got paint on your beard? So, yesterday, when I was doing the, whatchamacallit, the trim with the white, I got my beard a little too close to it. I'm gonna restart the PC real quick. How are you doing today? We're gonna switch to PC. We're gonna pause the stream in a minute, but first I gotta restart the PC. I always restart the PC before we do a stream because I've run into some VRAM issues. I need to get more, not VRAM, but it may be VRAM. I need to get more actual memory. And I need a better graphics card. But those are low priority compared to everything else right now. While the PC's restarting, did it just turn off? No, it's restarting. We're gonna get the lighting set up. Get these background lights plugged in. So it's actually a little known fact, but if you don't get paint in your beard, then you're not a pro painter. Did I do that right? Nope. There we go. I have my hard drive encrypted, so my PC has 2 passwords to get logged into. But crazy enough, it still boots up faster than a Windows PC. Alright, we're good to go. So, I'm going to switch, once I get everything started up, we're going to switch to the PC, which means the stream's going to stop for just a moment, but not very long. I do open things one at a time just because I prefer it that way. I don't necessarily need to. I'm pretty sure the PC would handle it fine if I just blasted everything, but it doesn't always remember exactly where the windows are. So I just do things one at a time to make sure I get everything where I want it and I don't accidentally start anything else. I think the only thing we still need running is Discord. Oh, we should probably get Steam running too and get whatchamacallit logged in. No necessary messages. We do have okay, sublight travel. Yep, it's down. Alright. We're not gonna get there. Someone's been attacking my satellites in the local PvP system. But we were doing other logistic things in a nearby star system. So we weren't able to get there in time to punish them. We might we'll still go in and see if they happen to be dumb enough to still be in the area. But by the time we land in that corner where we got the most recent combat report from, they will have the ability to have been gone for an hour. All right, let me see. Is it time to start the stream up? Let me start BattleNet first so it doesn't show my login info to the stream. Elder Scrolls franchise sale up to 75%. Ooh. Oblivion Remastered, 20% off. Elder Scrolls Online is 75% off. Guys, if you wanted to get into Elder Scrolls Online, now's the time. It's only $5. I might make a post about that. I might forget to make a post about that too. But, let me at least copy. Oh, wait. I haven't made a post about anything on social media in a while. I'm just been too busy. Let me post here real quick. All right. Yes, that's correct. All right. Let me post on my regular page. Is there anywhere else I want to post this besides Facebook and Twitter? Yep. Facebook wants me to boost the post, which is kind of funny. But we're not going to boost the post. They're just begging for money. I haven't been logged in on Facebook in a minute. Alright. So, anything else I need to do before... Let's see. I guess we do Blue Sky, maybe. No point in doing it on Instagram, I don't feel like. Because I'd have to make an image. You know what? Fuck it. We'll do Instagram too. Oh, you know what we could do? No, I don't have Blue Sky login. We can do a. You know what we can do is a YouTube community post. Switch account to the main account. Create, post, paste, post. All right. So let's go ahead and switch back to that. I'm going to stop the stream for just a moment, but that's because we're switching over to the PC. Are you doing something specific today in WoW? I was just going to run dungeons while I wait for the whatchamacallit, the paint to dry in between coats. If you want to join and do some games, do some WoW with me, you're absolutely welcome, Snow Ninja. Let me pause this stream and get the other started real quick.